Live from the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, the July 27th, 2022 edition. I've been gone for 2 weeks. I like to think that I've been on the PUP list, the physically unable to perform list, but you can't see it. Let me see if I can do it right here. There you go. You see my outsider shirt? That's where I was, folks. I wasn't dogging out. I wasn't thinking I had nothing to talk about. I was at camp, not shaving, knowing I had plenty of stuff to talk about. It was just a question of busyness where we were pulling some all-nighters up at Granite Ridge Christian Camp, which is where the Outsiders program takes place. I was the director of the Outsiders program. Now I am the executive director of the Outsiders program. And I get a chance to oversee about 5 to 7 different camps through the course of the year, men's, women's, and a little bit of family, not much family, a little bit of family. And then on top of that, I spent 3 weeks this summer. That's why it's been so hit and miss since June. 3 weeks this summer working summer camp with youth. We do a CIT academy where we help train kids to be counselors, and we do a kids camp, and then we do a youth camp. And I was at kids camp this past week, 165 or so of us, and it was very busy, and I'm seeing news break, and I really can't do anything about it. But I'm here now to catch up on everything, but I just wanted to let you know where I was, Outsiders, at Granite Ridge Christian Camp. I was doing work. And I know Tim Burns, faithful RamView watcher and listener, he took a fall. I want you to know, bud, we've been thinking about you. I want to thank Henry Yep for his pictures that he's allowed me to post with his permission and for keeping me up to date on things that are going on. Looking forward to RamFest on August the 20th. Hope to be there soon. And for everyone else that has been very positive towards me, you shouldn't be positive because I should be on every single day. Because there's always something to talk about when we're talking about Ram football in the NFL. Goodness gracious, right? So I get back, and I'm in a little bit of a fog because for 3 weeks, for the whole summer, we're focused on getting these camps taken care of, and then you kind of lift your head out of the fog and you see where everyone is, right? And so I've been doing all this catch up in terms of one thing and not talking too fast. But I've been doing all this catch up in terms of, okay, what may I have missed, right? And so I kept pretty good track of things, but I wanted to make sure. So I was watching and listening to all kinds of podcasts and enjoying them. 11 Personnel is good. Rams Talk is good. There's some good Ram podcasts that are out there, and I tried to listen to them all. I'm trying to remember which one. Oh, Horns Up. Rams Up. That was one that I listened to. I try to pay attention with all of them. My favorite is probably Derek Ciapala's group that does Rams Talk, but I like them all. But the one thing I'm noticing right now, and I'm noticing on social media, now everyone's in love with Tutu Atwell. What is that all about, right? Everyone's in love with Tutu Atwell. And it's like, wait a second, Tutu Atwell was a bum, Tutu Atwell was a flop, Tutu Atwell was a miss, and now he's buff and he's back and he's ready to rumble. Hey, I'm going to go on record here again. Go back and check the tape. I said the Rams drafted Tutu Atwell with the hope that maybe he could be our Tyler Lockett. And, he had 10 offensive snaps last year, and they tried to get him to do things that probably weren't in his wheelhouse in returning kicks. And right now you got that taken care of with Brandon Powell, right? So Tutu Atwell is going to fit into that role that Deshaun Jackson, who got a ring. Okay, I don't want to be bitter. I don't want to be bitter. Good. I think that just shows a lot of class from Snead, McVay, Kroenke, and all those guys that he got a ring. But Deshaun Jackson shouldn't have got a ring. But they're better people than me and than I. And so they envisioned Deshaun Jackson as that fourth. I don't think you needed to work Deshaun Jackson in there anymore. And I think Tutu Atwell for now is going to fill that Deshaun Jackson role. He's going to be the guy that blitzes deep, but he's also going to be the guy that's going to hit some of those crossing routes and go a little poor man's Tyreek Hill. So I'm anxious. And he's buffer, they say. Everything's worked out, and now everyone's in love with Tutu Atwell. But here at RamView, we maintained an open door about Tutu Atwell. All right, some quick hitters here. I'm a little bit out of sync right now. I want to say happy birthday to former Ram tight end Bob Klein. He turned 75 today. He was a first-round pick of the Rams out of USC, I believe in 69, and he was the epitome of a blocking tight end. Every time he caught the ball, he knocked people over. he just didn't get a chance to catch the ball. I don't think he caught more than 35 passes in any one season for the Rams, but he was just a great blocking tight end. Eventually, he got moved to the San Diego Chargers, which is really interesting because his backup was Pat Curran. Pat Curran with the Rams couldn't get on the field, but he was more of a receiving tight end. And the Rams dealt him to the Chargers, I think in 75. He had his best year. I think got 45 passes. And so it looked like Pat Curran's going to get his shot. And then a year or two later, the Rams deal Bob Klein, Pat Curran out. Bob Klein gets the job until I think, correct me if I'm wrong, until Kellen Winslow. I think that might be the case. But anyway, my family always liked Bob Klein. Also born in this day in 1939 was the late Irv Cross, who gave the Rams some solid seasons at corner in the 1960s and rose to fame, really, on NFL Today. You wish there were shows, NFL shows these days that took things as serious as Musburger, Cross, and even Phyllis George. Isn't that right? Even with Phyllis George and bringing in Jimmy the Greek, you wish the NFL shows today took football as serious instead of always trying to put on some stupid, ridiculous show a la NFL Network. Anyway, I digress, right? So Irv Cross passed away a few years ago, but today was his birthday. He would have been about 83, I think. Good player. And I didn't get a chance to mention it, but Van Jefferson turned 26 yesterday. And 102 years ago yesterday, Bob Waterfield, legendary Rams quarterback, Hall of Famer, UCLA legend, was born in 1920. That means this dude, we were watching the old highlights, he would be 102 if he was still around. But back to Jefferson, because this is what got my motors clicking. I always get my motors clicking on these things. Back to Van Jefferson and something to think about. Van Jefferson is making 1.1 million rocks this year. Next year, he's under contract still, and he'll be making 1.3 rocks. And then he becomes an unrestricted free agent heading into 2024, and he'll be 28 years old. And there's the great question. Do you give him another contract? We'll agree that I think Van Jefferson is better than okay, but is he very good? And is he good enough to give a contract that will take him into his 30th birthday? That's a great question. And he could be moved. And so maybe that's what Tutu Atwell is being groomed for. Bad word, groom. We're not supposed to use the word groom today. But it's really interesting to see what will play out, because when a guy turns 28 and he's not a breakout and you got to pay him more money, you could find a guy 22 that can do the same thing. Yeah, football is all cruel, guys. Football is all cruel. I think because it represents life the best, in the sense that you're always going to get hit and you're always going to be disposed of by those who say they love you and are not in your family, but in your employment matters, right? And no matter how the KBM, that's my acronym for Kiss by Media, type comes, and the KBM comes around and says, hey, remember, these players are human beings. And so let's not show them getting cut on Hard Knocks. Let's call it soft knocks now, right? Let's not get into a whole discussion about what they do to players. Folks, sorry, these are entertainers. Entertainers get cut. Ask female actresses what happens when they turn 30 or 35, right? They're completely dismissed. And that's the nature of the business, and you should know that going in. Football is all cruel. And football players really are thinking the wrong things if they're worried about someone reading about them getting cut or getting moved off from. I guarantee you, I'm thinking Chris Carson right now, the now former Seattle Seahawks running back who just failed his physical and was released by the Seahawks. I don't think he's thinking about, people are talking like I'm being cut and it's hurting my feelings and football is cruel. No. What Carson's thinking about right now is where he's going to get his next paycheck. You know, Carson, actually a 7th round pick, 249 overall in 2017 out of Oklahoma State. He definitely exceeded expectations. And outside of DK Metcalf and maybe Shaq Griffin, who made a Pro Bowl, Carson's the best Seahawks draft pick in the last 5 years. That's how you destroy a franchise. Too much Pete Carroll. Too much Pete Carroll. So football is cruel. It is cruel, and it's a hard business. And you better take it seriously. I don't think Chris Carson would have stuck around 5 years if he didn't take it seriously. And Kyler Murray is now at a point where they've kind of put him on the spot and decided he needs to take it seriously. I was catching up on everything that occurred, and was on my own pup list. And so I was reading this Kyler Murray story, and everything's been broken when he got the big contract, and then that news leaked yesterday about the little addendum in there about him studying. And okay, I'm going to start this way because I was doing a lot of studying to get ready for this show. And I've declared it before, so I'm going to go back in again. Colin Cowherd is the most talented voice on the air. You don't have to like him personally, but he's talented. He's at Limbaugh level. Now, again, you might not like Limbaugh's politics. That's okay, but you can't deny Limbaugh's talent that he could do a 3-hour show with no guests and very few callers. Guys that can do that, Cowherd's the same way. Guys that can do, are extremely talented. Someone would try to throw at me Howard Stern. Howard Stern could only wish he was as good as those two. He needed to shock you all the time, and those guys could just share and give background on where their field was in. And I'm not into Stern that much. So as I was hearing all the stuff going on about Kyler Murray, and then Colin Cowherd had a monologue on it the other day, and I kept thinking about it. In a normal world, I'm not giving 230 rocks, 160 of it guaranteed, and 46.1 per season for the next 5 years to someone if I have to include a clause that says he studies for 4 hours at home. In a normal world, I'm not doing that, right? But the Cardinals had to. And by not dealing Kyler Murray, and I would have looked for ways to deal him. I would have found the Steelers. I'd have contacted the Steelers. I'd have contacted the Jets and see if maybe they wanted to move off Zach Wilson. I would have made some overtures because I'm sorry, this is an adult game. This is a game played by men, not by petulant children. More and more, there are petulant children in this game. And Kyler Murray might not be a child, but he sure acts like one sometimes. And I'll never get rid of that vision of him in the Ram game in the playoffs last year. So, but by not dealing with Murray, the Cardinals had to pay him, or they would incur the wrath of a media and a fan base that's addicted to splash rather than substance. It's a fan base and a media that loves a moment but doesn't really have a vision for the Super Bowl, and that's what Kyler Murray gives you. He gives you incredible moments. He's a good quarterback, and he gives you incredible moments, but they're not sustained with consistent play, right? So the Cardinals were forced to give him that contract, but they dropped in a figurative, not a literal, a figurative poison pill outside for the outside study that he had to do. And they know, come on, there's no way to enforce it. There's no way to say, is he doing it? But it was their out when Murray crashes and burns in this coming season's second lap. He crashed and burned in each of his first 3 seasons. He just keeps crashing and burning in that second lap. And I'm sorry, I'm wondering, this was a team that came into SoFi week 3 and beat the Rams. Now, I still think Raheem Morris and everyone else was getting their stuff together. I still think we were suffering from too much Taylor Rapp, in coverage. I think David Long was hung out to dry a few times in that game, and the Rams needed to have their nose bloodied a little bit to understand that not everyone was going to roll over for them because the Rams were a very good team last year. But the Kyler Murray that showed up in January for the playoffs didn't look anything like the Kyler Murray that showed up before. And here's something that I'm just thinking. By the time Raheem Morris and the defense got its act together, it was late December and January where they really turned the screws, right? Where they really got better. And I'm just wondering, in terms of Kyler Murray and his disposition in that game and his poor play, if some of that was the Rams gave him looks he didn't see in the first game and the second game, the game the Rams won in Phoenix. And I'm wondering if some of that was maybe he wasn't ready. Maybe he just wasn't ready. So Cowherd goes off on how Murray is instinctive and doesn't need to study because he's so talented, and he was 42-0 in high school and successful in college and won the Heisman, right? And then he talked about how Brett Favre was the same way. He was a gunslinger and he won a Super Bowl, and how Roethlisberger was the same way and he won 2 Super Bowls. That's true. But Cowherd and none of the other people honking for Murray here, they didn't mention anything about the Super Bowls that Brett Favre may have left on the table by never maturing. Ask Packer fans. Ask Packer fans about the deep heave against the Eagles early in the early 2000s. Ask them about how they felt when he threw it. Was he picked off 6 times by the Rams? I think Tommy Pauly owned him in a playoff game against the Rams in St. Louis in the early part of the 2000s. They didn't talk about all the picks that he threw. You know, his last pick as a Packer was an interception. His last pick as a Jet was an interception. His last pick of his first season in Minnesota was an interception. And so they didn't talk about that. You know, he talked about how Ben Roethlisberger won 2 Super Bowls, but what did he leave on the table? Remember, he was surrounded by a terrific team in those years, and also after they lost to the Packers in the Super Bowl in January or February of 2011, the Steelers in the last 12 seasons have only won 3 playoff games, lost 7, and missed the playoffs 4 times. And Roethlisberger's an instinctive quarterback. I like Roethlisberger. He should go to the Hall of Fame. But, bro, you know, this is a big boy league. This is a league where you need to study. This is the league, no matter how talented you are, you need to study. I'll say this. He might not be the most accomplished quarterback. I've had my doubts about him passing. But you know a guy that really seems like he works harder every year to get better? Lamar Jackson. You know, I think he's hit his ceiling. I think he is what he is. I'm worried about his legs going out on him out because he's going to get nicked up a little bit more. But that guy looks like he puts in the work. If you're not going to put in the work, you're not going to have a legacy. You're not going to win games, right? He went off on Coward went off about how we shouldn't try to make Kyler Murray into the next Tom Brady, and no one's saying that Kyler Murray should be or can be the next Tom Brady. I think what Arizona wants is for Kyler Murray to be the best possible version of Kyler Murray for 46 rocks a year. What else should you be doing other than getting better? You know, what else, right? That's all you have to do. It's not like he's balancing 2 other jobs. Hey, just for quick reference here, for the last 20 years, I've essentially worked 3 jobs. And to do it all, I've done it with great joy. I haven't got great acclaim or anything, but I'm glad I did it. But to make it work, to do it all, I had to put childish things behind me. And I don't know if Kyler Murray is ready to put childish things behind me. And that's why you don't give a guy like that 46 rocks unless you're blackmailed by your kiss butt media and you're blackmailed by your fan base to saying, okay, we got to do this. But then you drop in a poison pill. Honestly, if I was a quarterback and someone dropped that in, implying that I didn't work hard enough, I'd be so insulted, I'd walk away. I'd walk away. I don't know about you, but when someone implies that you're lazy, a red light goes on because I might be a lot of things. I might be a little entitled. I might have some attitude. I might have too much snark. I might talk too fast. But to say someone's lazy, boy, that's a trigger word, man, for me. And I wouldn't have signed the contract. I said, you're going to take this out of on the contract. But I don't know why Murray signed the contract. Yeah, because those 46 rocks. And it seems like he doesn't care because they just insulted his reputation. And if your reputation's insulted, what do you do? Do you dance with that partner or do you walk away? I don't know. Anyway, just wanted to get that stuff out there that sometimes the most talented person on the air, even Colin Coward, I think is wrong. So, all right. Talked about everyone loves Tutu Atwell. Great. I'm glad everyone loves Tutu Atwell. Someone's getting traded out of that wide receiver room. Okay. I'm going to tell you, I think someone's getting traded out of the cornerback room. I think someone's getting traded out of the safety room. You know, if they don't happen, they don't happen. But it's not going to surprise me if someone's moved from those skill positions because it just looks like the Rams are a little bit loaded and they might want to just get ready for next year. We'll see because, of course, there's going to be an injury that happens and someone goes down. Bobby Brown, Bobby Brown, right? Bobby, you disturbed me. If you're going to use performance enhancers, can you at least perform a little bit better? Huh? That's all I want. You know, Brown's 6-game suspension is good news for Marquise Copeland and Michael Hecht and Jonah Williams and undrafted free agent Elijah Garcia, because now they get an opportunity to perform and get an opportunity to be on the field when Brown's benched for 6 weeks. And it's interesting. Remember, this was Brown's opportunity too. Both Greg Gaines and Ashawn Robinson are free agents after this year. Gaines makes 2.5 rocks. Robinson makes 6.5 rocks. And I can't see the Rams signing both of them. And it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. One of those guys is going to be gone next year. Maybe both. I don't know. But now's not the time to go out with a PED unless you're performing really well, right? In manner of good news, Travin Howard's injury, which I'm sorry to hear about. Every time you think this guy's going to get some traction, he tears up a knee or he injures his groin and has core surgery. But this is good news for undrafted free agent Jake Hummel, the guy out of Iowa State that people seem to like. And so he'll have a chance. I'm not really a Christian Roseboom guy. He's a special teamer. And a couple other things here. Do I have to keep hearing about the ring? I really don't care about the Rams ring. I'm not going to wear it. I don't care about the ring. Do I have to keep hearing about who did or didn't get their love on the Madden ratings? I don't care. Maybe the players care, but I don't talk to the players. I want to see the product on the field. Do I have to hear about or care about what Matthew Stafford thinks about being rated as a second-tier quarterback? Great. Rank him as a 10th-tier quarterback. I don't care. We know what he is. So I really don't know why so many groups are spending so much time talking about this. A quick note here, Luis Perez. Oh, we signed Luis Perez out of the USFL. Folks, he's a camp arm, an experienced camp arm. Great. He's been in the camp before. Awesome. He's just got out of the USFL, got a lot of snaps, but he's just a camp arm. And if he ends up replacing the Wolf, then I'm going to be upset that Snead and McVay couldn't do any better than Luis Perez as a backup for Matthew Stafford, because I think they've needed to upgrade this offseason and they didn't do it. Personally, I support Bryce Perkins. That's my guy. Okay. I want to see Bryce Perkins get the number 2 job. And that's why we watch preseason. As a Rams fan, I want to know about Coleman Shelton, who turns 27 tomorrow, Logan Bruss and Bobby Evans. And I want to know who's getting the right guard spot. I'm thinking it's Bruss. He's wearing a good number. I think he's wearing number 60. But the Rams didn't keep Coleman Shelton around just to have him spot Brian Allen once in a while at center. Okay. Bobby Evans, I think your days are numbered, Chief. Keep the locker, buy futons, don't buy big furniture. I think you're going. I also want to know about Justin Hollins securing the other edge spot and Terrell Lewis pressing hard. And finally seeing if we have anything in Chris Garrett and the really enigmatic Ernest Brown IV, right? Because sometimes you see this guy as a down guy, you see him as an edge guy. I just want to see him on the field. So these are the reasons we should slurp up preseason football. I love preseason football. And people say, well, I don't want to pay for preseason football. I don't want to pay 200 bones for a seat to see all the backups, right? The NFL needs to figure that one out. But I love watching preseason football. I love to see who's going to win these spots and where the battles are going to take place. And getting an idea of who is a keeper, who they should keep on the practice squad, who we should fret over if they lose, and who's going to the USFL, right? Those are the things we want as fans. Goodness gracious, I went 22 minutes. I want to say thank you for being so kind to me and clicking on. But I will be back. And again, I was at Outsiders Camp this summer, and my summer is over. Folks, whoever clicked on, liked, or is watching right now, thank you for liking. Hit like, share with your friends. Folks, I will talk to you soon. Hopefully, I'm going to be back tomorrow because I don't have another camp. Okay. God bless. Take care.